Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Evan. The day I came home early from a business trip, walked into our bedroom, and saw my wife with another man, everything I had invested into our 10-year marriage, my love, loyalty, and memories, was shattered in an instant. To explain how we got here, I need to take you back to the very beginning. I met Brooke, the woman who became my wife, in college. It happened at a friend's house party, and by chance, we got paired up for a game. Funny how life works. That casual interaction turned into late-night talks and shared meals at the campus cafeteria. Before long, we were spending nearly every free moment together. There was something different about her, something that clicked for me right away. People always say, when you know, you know. And with Brooke, I knew. She had her own challenges, I had mine, but we supported each other through them. Everyone around us could see we were special together. Friends would joke that we were destined to get married after graduation, and honestly, I believed them. I started picturing a future with her early on. Those were some of the happiest days of my life. Money was the last thing on my mind back then. My parents paid for my tuition and living expenses, so I graduated completely debt-free. Brooke didn't have that privilege. She had to take out loans to get through school, and by the time we got married, she was carrying a mountain of student debt, enough to take most people decades to pay off. A lot of people in my shoes would have at least consulted their family before committing to someone with that kind of debt. But I didn't. I never even mentioned Brooke's loans to my parents. I already knew how those conversations would go. Someone would have said I was being taken advantage of, or that Brooke saw me as her financial escape. I refused to let that poison our relationship. Her debt became our debt the moment we got married. My parents gifted us a house as a wedding gift, though the title stayed in their name for security reasons. I didn't think much of it then. It was a beautiful house, a huge blessing, and gave us the kind of head start most couples could only dream of. Around the same time, I started working for my uncle's company. Because of our close relationship, I didn't have to start at the bottom, but the role came with heavy responsibilities and constant travel. The job paid, well, more than enough to give us a comfortable life. And because I didn't have my own debt, I was able to help Brooke pay off her loans far quicker than we imagined. I'll never forget the day I handed her the final payment and said, "It's done." She cried, hugged me, thanked me over and over. I felt proud, like we had just conquered our first mountain together. But as the years passed, I was home less and less, sometimes gone for weeks at a time. Every time I came back, Brooke seemed a little more distant. We had the kind of life most people envied. And after a few years, she asked if she could quit her job to focus on her hobbies. I supported that decision. If we could afford it and it made her happy, why not? But even with everything she could possibly want, she grew colder. Communication became one-sided. I'd come home from a trip, and she wouldn't greet me like she used to. Our intimacy started fading away. At night, when I reached for her, she'd pull away with some excuse. That had never been us. I told myself it was just a phase, that every couple goes through seasons like this and eventually finds their way back. But the truth was, I was watching our marriage unravel before my eyes, and I didn't realize how far gone it already was. Then came the signs I couldn't ignore. Brooke started guarding her phone like it was top secret. We used to be completely open with our devices. No passwords, no lock screens, no secrets. If her phone buzzed while she was cooking, I'd read her messages aloud. But suddenly, she never left it unattended. She carried it everywhere, even to the bathroom. And when I finally saw it left alone one day, I noticed she put a passcode on it. I didn't confront her right away. Part of me didn't want to sound paranoid, and the other part didn't want to hear the truth. I was preparing for an important investor meeting in New York, so I told myself I'd wait until I got back to talk to her. That Thursday morning, I packed, kissed Brooke goodbye, and left before sunrise like always. But at the airport, I learned all flights north were grounded due to bad weather. My team planned to stay at an airport hotel like we'd done many times before, but something told me to go home instead. Whether it was instinct or just exhaustion, I decided to surprise Brooke. I even stopped to grab her favorite iced tea on the way. When I walked in, the house was quiet. But as I went upstairs, I noticed clothes on the hallway floor, hers and a man's. Then I heard noises coming from our bedroom. I opened the door and my entire world stopped. There was Brooke, the woman I had given 10 years of my life to, in bed with another man. My heart didn't just break. It collapsed. I stood frozen, holding the iced tea I had bought for her, while she scrambled to cover herself. The man jumped out of bed in shock, and Brooke went pale, staring at me like she had just seen a ghost. There was no room for lies, no way to explain it away. All I could think was how she had thrown away everything. For this, for a few minutes of whatever that was, I told the man to get up and follow me to the living room. I didn't yell, didn't hit him. I just needed answers. I grabbed my phone and started recording. I made both of them sit on the couch, still undressed, and told the guy plainly that if he tried anything stupid, he'd regret it long after he left my house. I asked him questions. Did he know she was married? How long had this been going on? Had he been here before? I needed facts, not excuses. Nothing they said could undo what I had seen. When I was done, I pointed to the door and told him he had 10 seconds to leave, without his clothes. He ran. Then I turned to Brooke. I looked her in the eyes and said, "You threw away our entire marriage for what? For a few minutes with some guy?" She started crying, begging, saying it wasn't what I thought. But it was exactly what I thought. I told her calmly, "I'm leaving tomorrow. When I get back, I don't want to see you here." She followed me down the hall, pleading, but I shut myself in my study and locked the door. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't even sleep. I just sat there feeling hollow, replaying everything in my mind. She texted me over and over, apologizing, asking me to talk, but I didn't answer. I called my lawyer instead and asked him to set me up with a divorce attorney. The next morning, she was waiting by the door. Her face was puffy from crying, but I didn't have anything left to give. She begged again, tried to explain, but I cut her off. There's nothing left to talk about. Then I left for my rescheduled trip. When I came back, I expected her to be gone. I had been very clear. But she was still there, as if nothing had changed, as if time would soften me. That's when I contacted my lawyer again, this time to file an official eviction along with the divorce papers. Because the house was still legally in my parents' name, she had no claim to it. Within days, she was served with the documents. Instead of leaving quietly, she hired a lawyer and tried to spin the story. She argued that my constant work travel left her feeling abandoned, and that's why she cheated. She even demanded a large financial settlement, claiming she had sacrificed her own career for mine. But my lawyer presented solid evidence that she had used our joint funds to support her affair, hotel bookings, gifts, even travel expenses tied to the man I caught her with. The case dragged on for months, but thanks to my family's financial protections, most of my assets couldn't be touched. In the end, Brooke walked away with far less than she expected. Not because I wanted revenge, but because she tried to play a game she didn't understand and lost. When it was finally over, she moved out. Whatever chance we had of ending things peacefully was gone after how she behaved in court. Lying, shifting blame, refusing to take responsibility. Looking back, I have no regrets. I gave that marriage everything. I supported her through school, worked across continents to give us a great life, and ignored red flags because I believed in what we had. But a marriage takes two people, and I was the only one still trying. Now, my focus is on rebuilding myself and creating a future where I don't have to question my worth every day. It hurts, yes, but I'd rather be alone than stay with someone who couldn't stay faithful.